Good evening. This is Maestro Gratella with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Angel Gate. Our first player is zeetorq, playing as the Plague Champion. This is a Chaos ranged hero who can get melee weapons later on. He can heal with his Worship and Mucus Discharge. He can also repair and build turrets. Next up, we've got Hiveminion, playing as the Tyrannid Lictor Alpha. This is an infiltrating hero who is very powerful in melee. Finally on the blue team, we've got Super Hooper, playing as the Orc Warboss. Big, tanky melee hero wearing a truck on his back. He can aggressively charge ahead, and he's got some very powerful globals. On the other team, first of all, we've got Stoned Elf, playing as the Lord General. This is the only hero who is a squad. He's got lots of support abilities for buffing Imperial Guard squads. And yeah. Next up, we've got Noisy, playing as a Blood Angels Force Commander. This is a tanky melee hero. He can be knocked down and suppressed, but he's also very good at buffing and disrupting. Finally, on the red team, we have Zato, playing as the Techmarine. This is a Space Marine ranged hero. He can repair, build turrets, and generally supports vehicles very well, especially with the Blessing of the Omnissiah. Alright then, looks like we've got some Space Marines. Most of the Space Marines being chased off. We have, well, the Lictor Alpha chasing off all the Space Marine squads, while the Force Commander chases off all the Tyrannid squads, or is he chasing them off? Rather, it looks like he is going down. Quickly got overwhelmed. My guess is Noisy must have lost track of the Force Commander while maneuvering his tactical marines and his scouts. It looks like he never actually retreated them. Yeah, so he was microing them to keep them on the field, although I'm not sure how much longer this squad of tacs can stay on the field. They're at about half health now. Techmarine as well is definitely needs to be careful. And right now, Zato and Noisy are struggling a lot in these bottom two lanes, even though this isn't a very strictly laney map. But they're struggling, I think in part because of their lower squad count. Wow. So Super Hooper really wanted to try to get that incapacitate on the Techmarine. And even though it would have been an easier revive, I think that might have been worth it if he could have pulled it off, because that would have forced Stoned Elf, who's supposed to be at the top, to move his hero all the way down to the bottom, since both Noisy and Zato would have been downed at that point. If Noisy had still had his Force Commander up, then it would be fine. Ooh, this Sentinel is in a lot of trouble. It does not have its Stomp, but a very nice save by Noisy. Good positioning on his Devastators to suppress them right there, and since he was setting up right in front of their face, right in front of the face of those Hormagaunts, he was doing a lot of damage, since Devastators do quite a bit more damage from close range. So, blue team currently with the 2-0 cap, and already we're seeing a few upgrade purchases from zeetorq. zeetorq is doing some smart stuff here. He's got, he is worshipping with his melee heretics, and then he's keeping his grenade launcher heretic squad like active as an actual fighting squad. You also see that he does have the Bile Spewer as well as the Blight Grenades. Blight Grenades, since he is playing against a Imperial Guard player, it might be hard for this Plague Champion to get that close to a squad of Guardsmen, but as long as he does get that close, the attempted Blight Grenade throw is definitely worth it. However, here it looks like he's going in a little too close. He's going for a throw. Oh, I see what he's going for. Very, very nice. So he's combining the Bilious Discharge from the Bile Spewer so that he will snare squads, and then going for the Blight Grenades while they can't actually dodge it. So it looks like Hiveminion now has actually transitioned more to the top, to going for this power farm now. I don't think they've actually destroyed any power, but it does seem like Hiveminion and zeetorq are definitely pushing back Noisy and Stoned Elf, rather. However, here are the Assault Marines in for Noisy. I believe they are Death Company Assault Marines. So that's why they have a different color scheme, despite the fact that the rest of Noisy's Space Marines are red. Meanwhile, down here, we have Devastators who are getting way too close to a Warboss. These Devastators in quite a bit of trouble, losing... Oh, one model, I thought they were down to... I thought they were only down to one. Anyway, Techmarine, not in a good position. He needs to get out of there now, because if he lets those Hormagaunts surround him, he would stand a chance of actually getting incapacitated, even with this much health. Hormagaunts, as much as they are a squishy squad, they are still a very high DPS squad. Hormagaunts with 8 models, they do 20 DPS melee per model, so that actually comes out to 160 DPS melee, and that is actually one of the highest for a starting squad, and with no squad leader. Of course, the Hormagaunts don't get a squad leader, but if we're comparing it to other squads, like Sluggas, like Banshees... Anyway, what is... I can't even... That is a Force Commander right in the middle of all this. Could hardly see him. He was getting obscured by, like, particle effects from, like, lots of other things. I don't know if they were actually particle effects. A lot of things here, playing dangerous games. Raptors jumping in with only a little bit more than half their health, so the Devastator's very smartly getting into the building. I like that play. That keeps them out on the field, but he does have to be aware of the Blight Grenades from the Plague Champion, since the grenades would be anti-garrison. Throws the Blight Grenade anyway. That seems like... Oh, that's not a late grenade toss. I missed the Catachan Devils. Didn't see them there. I do feel like the area of effect grenades aren't quite as effective on retreat as the regular grenades, since with a regular grenade, all of the damage is front-loaded. And regular grenade, I mean like Scout Grenade or Dire Avenger Plasma Grenade. Those area of effect grenades from like the Plague Champion as well as the Apothecary, they don't do as much front-loaded damage, but they do the damage over time. Although the Blight Grenade also does have the infection damage, which is good, because that will go with them even if they leave the area. There's the Blight Grenade even has like 3 different layers of damage. Front-loaded, area of effects in that area, and then the infection. Alright, back up here, we've got the Sentinel chasing down the Termagants. Termagants will just take model losses as long as it is in range of the Sentinel. Sentinel does not actually have to work that hard for it. Ooh, Assault Marines jump out. Don't lose a model, even though one of their models got flesh took. And here is the Force Commander disrupting the Lictor Alpha. The Lictor Alpha is definitely a very troublesome hero to deal with, but if there's one hero who can... I mean, there are several heroes, but if there's any hero, or if at least there's one of them, the Force Commander can actually take on the Lictor Alpha. However, we do have the Lictor Alpha getting upgraded with some very powerful war gears. He's actually going for the Scything Talons. Not one of the... Generally not the most commonly used war gear for the Lictor Alpha, even though it definitely is good. Usually just overshadowed by the... by a war gear that I'm actually blanking out on, even though the war gear for the Lictor Alpha that generally that regenerates health per hit. I will definitely remember it later. I can't believe I'm actually blanking out on this. But that one's usually favored. Scything Talons actually gives him an ability that will suppress and knock back nearby enemies. So it actually gives him a disruption ability. Not too commonly seen, but still definitely good. Anyway, oh no! Ooh, we have a Missile Launcher Sentinel, which is, I mean, to be honest, absolutely the correct choice against all the things he's dealing with. It's like a no-brainer choice. He really wants to keep this Sentinel alive. It's going to do so much damage to everything, which is why he needs to be extremely careful about his positioning, and try not to let this Sentinel go down, because it will do major damage to just about everything the blue team has to offer, and it goes down already. So sad, considering it could have done ridiculous damage to these heretics as well as the Termagants. So pretty sad to see that happen. There are grenade launcher heretics. They could be shooting at the guardsmen in the building, flush them out. But there is a grenade. There is a devastator. This is a creeping barrage. What a good creeping barrage, considering there's so much stuff here. zeetorq and Hiveminion were so bunched up. Although it would have been even better if that was a rocket run. Of course, we're nowhere near the stage of the game where a rocket run could actually happen. But I mean, just considering how blobbed up all those squads were, and considering what squads those were squads with lots of models but low health per model. A rocket run would have been absolutely devastating. So it's more like I wanted to imagine that that was a rocket run, even though it clearly wasn't. Anyway, an Assault Marine model goes down to a Warrior Brood. Warriors generally don't think they would really win against the Assault Marines, but the Warriors probably got them knocked down, as well as had some support from a Zoanthrope and some Termagants. Wow, Zoanthrope in major trouble. I think one hit from that Thunderhammer actually brought it down to this much health. Since the Thunderhammer actually does quite a bit of damage per swing, so it does a lot of burst damage. Alright, but red team taking back the top, and so far, actually, the game seems to be pretty even. Noisy is, aside from his early loss, he's appearing to be quite a beast with this Force Commander. Force Commander, now, I imagine, it's hard, I think he's just walking away. I don't think he's actually in retreat. Yeah, he's just walking away. However, he definitely does have to worry about this Plague Champion now. Since the Plague Champion, with the Plague Fist, this is pretty much the anti-melee loadout for the Plague Champion, since he can use Pestilent Strike and stun any infantry unit, which is generally a strong way of dealing with melee units, and especially any kind of really tough melee unit. So elite melee squads as well as melee heroes. We have the Warboss in a little bit of trouble. Might go down here. He's been hit by marked target. Wow, did not go down. His health was definitely pretty close to 0. He did not go down, I think, from the health regeneration on Angry Bits. That's still a thing, apparently. Anyway, I can see +6s from lots of either Hormgon or Termagant models going down. Crazy things going on, but it is Noisy Space Marines in full retreat. Ooh, we have a Lictor Alpha here with the Deadly Jump. I actually did see him queuing that upgrade earlier. This is a very, very good ability. I've actually seen some people refer to this ability as a no-brainer. I don't entirely agree with that, just because the Lictor Alpha definitely has other really good war gears in that slot as well. Catachan's undoubtedly going down. Oh wait, were those? Yeah, Catachan's went down. Guardsman actually in a lot of trouble too. This Guardsman squad, no way it's getting out of there alive, unless some of these other squads just don't even like shoot them or anything. I think the Devastators in the building are also positively screwed, and they do get killed. Chaos Space Marines going for the kill on the Guardsman. Terrible engagement for Stoned Elf Boy, and Noisy too. But yeah, this ability, Deadly Jump, is very powerful. It's a jump ability, much like Assault Marine Jump. One of the great things about the Lictor Alpha's Deadly Jump that really separates it from most other jump abilities is that it actually does a decent amount of damage just with the jump itself when it lands. And Assault Marines do some damage when they land, but it's very minimal, especially compared to the Lictor Alpha. I mean, it's still not going to make a huge dent in something like Tactical Marines, but if it jumps on something like Guardsmen, you'll notice the drop in their health will actually do quite well against them. Lictor Alpha does manage to knock over the Force Commander once, but this Force Commander is starting to get a little scary. He's got the Artificer armor, gives him some extra hit points, as well as that Thunderhammer, which does make him pretty powerful. And I mean, he is going to be good at just sniping Assault Marine models. Look at him knocking over this whole crowd all by himself. Oh my god, these Tyranid, one Tyranid squad right here, Termagants, I mean, they should be dying, but it looks like he didn't really target the Termagants, but he might get the Raptors. Close call, but the Lictor Alpha jumps in. So Noisy did not manage to finish off any squads there. He definitely had the opportunity to kind of like return, to give an answer to the way Stoned Elf and Noisy lost their squads. Definitely had the potential. So Warboss right here has the Power Claw as well as the Angry Bits. So with Power Claw, he's going to do some major damage. We'll probably see at least, yeah, one Sturge Guard model went down. Can't let a squad like Stern Guards just get beat up by the Warboss, or they will lose models very quickly. And while a Warrior Brood is going down, this one definitely, it's got to go down. Just a few hit points. Can the Assault Marine model? The Assault Marine model does not finish it off. The Assault Marines themselves are now screwed, and we have some Casterkins that are actually doing major damage to the Heretics. And all told, we're having a lot of close calls on the squads. Even this this Heretic squad getting out of there with one model, so lots of close calls. Anyway, down here, it looks like Zato, at least for now, he is controlling it. Needs to be a little bit careful. Zato's got a lot of squads, though, and the Warboss can sometimes be tough to deal with. But, I mean, if there's any hero, the Techmarine is definitely a hero who can very capably deal with the Warboss. I would go as far as to say that he's probably favored against the Warboss, like, as an overall matchup, and he can definitely deal with the Warboss himself. Alright, meanwhile, back up here, the Raptors will inevitably jump on these Devastator Marines. I actually like the color scheme on these Devastator Marines. The blue helmets along with the whole red body. Scouts are in quite a bit of trouble. They're about to get meleeed by Chaos Space Marines and Raptors. These scouts are definitely dead. No retreat from Noisy, and wow, he definitely just lost track of that squad again. And I would say my guess for the OP ability that Super Hooper is talking about would probably be the Signum Armor. Well, the War Gear is called the Signum Armor. The ability is called Mark Target. Mark Target, that does increase the damage that any targeted unit will take, and it's especially good for dealing with well, to be honest, it's good for dealing with anything, but it's especially useful for dealing with really tough tanky units, and it's something that can probably almost invalidate the Warboss, especially with all the other ranged fire that Zato has, whether it's from Scouts, Tactical Marines, the Stern Guard Veteran. Yeah, and I called it pretty much, Mark Target. Anyway, wow, the way these Devastators are just setting up in the face of these Chaos Space Marines, they're taking a lot of grenade launcher fire, though. Surprised to not see any disruption from, like, a grenade barrage, but it looks like the Chaos Space Marines are going to close for melee anyway, although the Chaos Space Marines are in a little bit of trouble. No way, it's these Assault Marines in trouble instead. Getting completely overwhelmed by Raptors, by Shooter Boys. Even the Shooter Boys are running in here. Is the Force Commander in the middle of all this? He apparently was, and he's probably in retreat now. So Noisy is even saying he lost tax. Man, this is not Noisy's game. It's weird. Noisy does not seem to be as good of a 3v3 player as a 1v1 player. Either that, or he really just doesn't take these games as seriously. And I'd say it's probably more likely the second possibility. But oh man, now we've got some super heavy tanks out on the field. We've got both a Baneblade as well as a Land Raider Redeemer. VPs are nevertheless managing to stay even. I don't know if I agree with this Plague Champion pushing so hard just to bash generators. Of course, if he's uninterrupted, he will bash generators pretty quickly. But I think the risk of him, like, going down in retreat is a little too high for what he would gain. At this point, destroying power generators is not that big of a benefit. It's certainly still a benefit, but not as big of a one. Nowhere near as big of a benefit as destroying them early game. At this point in the game, I would say it's, well, I'd say it's probably more about the red generator. Actually, that's probably more in the very late game. The power is still going to be valuable. It could make it hard for the red team to put out like a lot of the tier 3 units, whether it's tanks, super units, since those are generally very power intensive units. But it won't be GG the way doing it at the start of the game would be. But man, crazy things are going on. Carnifex, I think, now in a little bit of trouble. It is a Thornback Carnifex. It does have a Venerable Dreadnought hitting it in the butt, and it was trying to do some damage to the Land Raider Redeemer, and actually managed to do some decent damage. And there is also, of course, a Baneblade here as well, which actually does plenty of AV damage. Between the main cannon as well as the las cannons, it's doing plenty of AV damage. I believe not quite as much as a Land Raider Phobos, but it's still very significant. As in, it's actually still one of the best overall sources of AV. Orbital Bombardment looks like it could be on a lot of things. Right on top of the Havoc, a Force Commander gets caught in there as well. So do the Raptors, definitely hitting the Chaos Havocs rather pretty flush. The Raptors kind of getting more of a side hit, and it looks like the something went down for zeetorq, and I didn't quite see what it was. Just one of his units died. Raptors lost 2 models. Oh, no, he did lose Havocs. It was because I was confused because he had another squad of Havocs. Anyway, Lictor Alpha gonna wipe out Zato's scouts. He doesn't have a flesh hook. Oh wow, so lucky for Zato to not lose that scout squad. I think basically lucky that that flesh hook was on cooldown, because flesh hook would have guaranteed the squad wipe. Anyway, Baneblade is being pretty aggressive, moving in front of the base. Needs to be careful because we've definitely got some AV answers to deal with it. Right now we've got a Orc Luda, definitely does some major damage. Needs to be careful not to path block his own Baneblade with his Kashrikins. And to be honest, he needs to start moving it back. And he is going to start moving it back. But it's already taken a lot of damage. I mean, it's taken a lot of damage from that Warboss as well as the Warriors. It's starting to get some repairs for the Guardsmen, but it's actually in quite a bit of trouble right now. And here is, that's probably another Creeping Barrage. Creeping Barrage, and the Creeping Barrage definitely does keep the Baneblade safe and save it. So it looks like Stone Delph is not choosing to like save his red for a Rocket Runner or anything. Uh-oh, he might lose the Guardsman though. Close call. He's gonna lose it. But, I mean, losing, the Rocket Run, of course, is extremely powerful and has the potential to wipe squads, which makes it very, very valuable in 3v3. And especially, you can wipe several squads with a single Rocket Run. I've definitely wiped as many as 3 squads in the past with Rocket Runs, and I would say it's probably possible to wipe 4. Possibly even 5. 5 might be pushing it because you really need them all bunched up inside the Rocket Run, but I can say from personal experience, I've wiped 3 squads with a Rocket Run. The benefit of... Now, he doesn't quite have that squad wiping potential of... with the Creeping Basilisk Barrage. But what he does have is that he can win more engagements using the Creeping Barrage, because he will be using it more often, and the Creeping Barrage is straight up an engagement winner. You should win most engagements, if not any engagement where you use the Creeping Barrage. Just because the disruption, for how much disruption it gives, it's... an abyss of chaos, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's right on top of the Baneblade. It is doing a lot of damage to the Guardsmen. The Guardsmen are in trouble. It's doing damage to the Baneblade as well, and this Baneblade is probably going to go down. In fact, it does. So the Baneblade, the Imperial Abyss actually does do AV damage, because its main damage type is heavy melee, which, I mean, that's usually considered the AV melee. Heavy melee actually only does half damage to vehicles, which is still way more than most. Oh my god, the blue team actually winning very decisive. Is that Spire also going to destroy this bunker? It better. Oh, I want to see it destroy this bunker, to be honest. And it does! That is a very, very nice use of a Tyranna formation, and very poor reactions from Stone Delph Boy. As soon as he saw that Tyranna formation, he should have taken that squad of Kashrikins out of that bunker. Wow, someone even said they broke Angel Gate? Is this a thing? Like, I feel like that doesn't happen. Can they go up there? Like, I wonder. But yeah, I mean, the Tyranna formation, one of the good things about it is that it will instantly destroy any garrison. It will instantly destroy any garrison. And then if a unit is inside a garrison when it gets destroyed, it will wipe out that whole squad, even if it's at full health, no matter what squad it is. I once accidentally put a squad of knobs in a bunker at full health, and I lost the entire squad of knobs. It was very, very sad, and at the same time rather hilarious. But I mean, just to illustrate what happens when when a squad is inside a bunker when the bunker gets destroyed. Anyway, Doom of Malantai out on the field. I hear that in the relatively near future, it will be rechristened a Neurothrope to make it a little more, like, fluff accurate. The Doom of Malantai being a legendary creature that was only ever seen once and may just be a unique creature and only one of it actually exists. Anyway, this Venerable Dreadnought actually doing very, very well. They have added... It was a fairly recent upgrade, or a fairly recent addition to the Elite mod, to give it the Dark Age of Technology upgrade. I sometimes wonder if that was really necessary. I'm not sure, but at the same time, I don't use it enough, and I also haven't really asked people about it, who use it, and what they think of it. Of course, the Dark Age of Technology, generally not a commonly seen upgrade, just because a lot of Dreadnoughts often don't last when this upgrade is actually available. But it increases the health as well as the inspiration bonus of the Venerable Dreadnought, and even for the regular Dreadnought as well when you get on the regular Dreadnought. But I think the idea was that a lot of Walkers in general, including the Venerable, tend not to actually perform that well in Tier 3. A little bit debatable. But I think the big issue is that tanks become a little more dominating in Tier 3 because they can... wow, just crazy stuff going on here. And here finally is a rocket run. So I guess I was wrong, and there is a rocket run. I can't even tell what it actually killed just because we just have a huge cluster of stuff. Wow, the Venerable Dreadnought is still alive because it is being repaired by the blessing of the Omnissiah. I don't think it'll be able to last this entire engagement. It's still well in the firing arc of the Havoc, so it's probably going to go down, yeah. So that's the end of it. But at the same time, it was able to last long enough to ensure the death of that Carnifex. And crazy stuff is going on, to be honest. We have 2 squads of Assault Terminators from Noisy. He needs to get the heck out of the Doom of Malantai's paroxysm. Wow. And those heretics never stood a chance on retreat. So significant VP lead, well, not significant, but we definitely have a VP lead for the blue team. They've got a 2-0 cap, and I think that nothing often has a lot to do with a Lictor Alpha who is getting the decap on the natural victory point for the red team. Wow. And another squad of scouts fall prey to, well, these shooter boys right here. These are, rather, wow, had a lot of trouble with the language there. Level 3 and level 4 shooter boys. So they will absolutely wipe the floor with scouts that have no sergeant, because those scouts will not have much hit points. I like the use of the drop pod right on top of the shooter boys. I love that when people actually just put a drop pod and actually use it on another squad. There's just like kind of a humorous aspect to it. Anyway, Venerable Dreadnought does need to be very careful with the knobs around. Of course, the Venerable Dreadnought now does have melee resist. Or does it? Man, it seemed to just lose its health so quickly from the knobs. Although there are other things as well, like a rocket from a squad of commandos. 1-to-1 cap. The Warboss, yeah, he definitely has to respect the fact that there are Stern Guard veterans here with Hellfire rounds loaded in, so they will actually do quite a bit of damage to the Warboss very quickly, even though he now has the Heavy Armor. Heavy Armor giving him an extra 900 health. That's nearly doubling his health. It might even be actually doubling his health. Although he is at level 6 right now, would need to look at all the stats again. I would basically need to look at like the stats table of his leveling as well as his starting hit points. Anyway, Techmarine has actually switched to the plasma gun, and this is definitely directly in response to the knobs now out on the field. So definitely some smart war gear choices for Zato. He's really like using them like reactively, and just getting what he needs to like best deal with whatever is like his biggest threat. Before he was using the Mastercrafted Bolter, and that was good against the Sluggas as well as the Warboss. I do not agree with that aggressive teleport. Needs to be very careful. He is in a huge amount of trouble. one Knob Squad. I think this one Knob Squad, or not Knob Squad, this one Assault Terminator Squad, their only chance is to get inside the Land Raider Redeemer. They'll probably get in with one model, and I think are they going for the Land Raider? Yes, they're inside the Land Raider. That does save them. What is the squad of Raptors doing? Wow, jumped in with only 1 out of 4 models, unless it really lost that many models, like just on approach. And lucky to get out of there alive. Things are getting pretty crazy right now. 2-to-1 cap, but the lead in real VPs is in favor of the blue team. Another creeping barrage just to dislodge the las cannon. However, this las cannon is so far back that it will just like step back a little bit and eventually reset up. So that mostly just bought them some time. Land Raider Redeemer is going to go down though. Just positioned way too far forward. It's a really close call. No, I was going to say, like, it needs to start moving back now, but something ultimately hit it. And another Imperial Abyss. Something went down there. I think another squad belonging to Stoned Elf. Stoned Elf has lost so many things right now in this game. He has lost several squads of Guardsmen. He has lost a Baneblade. Can he keep his Leman Russes alive? The workhorse of the Imperial Guard army. And wow, Plague Champion, level 10 Plague Champion. Look at how tanky and tough this guy is. Someone also recently said on the forums that I think it was something like the level up bonus for a melee hero, or just the melee increase when you are level to 10 is something like 40%. And I knew that, I mean, I certainly knew that you get a increase in damage, both ranged and melee damage, when you level up. And I definitely knew that the increase is bigger for melee than for ranged. However, I did not calculate what the total increase was after all leveling is said and done. And he's really going for the full-on tanky build right now with this Plague Champion. He's even switched out the Blight Grenades for the Mucus Discharge. There's not even a whole lot for him to hit with Blight Grenades. It's not going to do much throwing them at Leman Russes. That armor will actually protect against Blight Grenades. So he's got the Mucus Discharge just to make him even tankier and let him stay out on the field. Armor of Pestilence he's had for a while now. But now it's pretty much, we're getting to the point where it's do or die time. The red team has to make a move. The ball is in their court, and if they don't make a move soon, the blue team will take this. They've got the lead in VPs, and instead we have some infiltrated decappers as well. We have both, it looks like, the Lictor Alpha as well as the Commandos. And actually, this looks like it's just going to straight up be it in favor of the blue team. Looks like probably the more exciting engagement is going on over here. Knobs trying to hammer away at the Zone Throat. Probably was trying to finish off the Zone Throat, but it's not going to be enough, and the blue team is definitely going to take this now. Another Tyrannoformation. Just to disrupt, to deny the cap again. Well played by the blue team. Taking this game. So yeah, this is still crazy. Angel Gate being destroyed. Like, I never know, like, it's closed, right? Like, normally it's closed. And I didn't even know it was possible to destroy it. And I'm guessing you can't move your squads up here, but, like, I wonder. Alright, anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.